Tonight, breaking news. The war in Iran entering week 3. Thousands more U.S. forces are on the way as the economic fallout grows. Also, the powerful storm barreling east as millions brace for high winds. And the Oscar preps in Los Angeles tonight. First, Iran defiant amid a blistering assault. New images of U.S. strikes on key Iranian facilities. CENTCOM saying more than 90 military targets hit. President Trump threatening to attack Iran's crucial oil facilities next if Iran continues to block shipments through the Strait of Hormuz. Thousands more Marines and sailors now headed to the Middle East. The war threatening the economy. Gas in the U.S. up 73 cents since it began. Diesel nearly $5 a gallon. Shipping costs going up. UPS and FedEx adding surcharges. Food prices under pressure now, too. Tonight, a powerful storm barreling east. Snow across the Midwest and Great Lakes. Severe storms to the south. Over 100 million people expecting high winds through the weekend. New details in the Michigan synagogue attack and the suspect seen buying thousands of dollars of fireworks. Synagogue officials grateful for the preparations they made. It could have been so much worse. And an explosion at a Jewish school in Amsterdam. The mayor calling it a deliberate attack against the Jewish community. Southwest Airlines ending service to 2 major airports in Chicago and Washington, D.C. The Big 12 game heading into overtime and the buzzer beater sending Arizona to the conference final. The dramatic close call for 2 workers repairing a mountain road when the hillside came sliding down around them. And the countdown to the 98th Academy Awards. We go behind the scenes of the live performances with the music director preparing his hand-picked orchestra and the visionary choreographer with the dancers rehearsing their golden rendition.
From ABC News, this is ABC World News Tonight. Reporting tonight from Los Angeles.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us on this Saturday. I'm Whit Johnson. We begin with the war in Iran, now entering its 3rd week. Both sides digging in. Tehran is now threatening retaliation after the U.S. attacked a critical oil hub. The U.S. striking 90 targets on an island which serves as Iran's main oil export terminal. Israel congratulating the U.S. on the strikes. The U.S. embassy in Baghdad once again coming under fire as a missile struck a helipad. President Trump saying that Iran is totally defeated and wants a deal, but not one that he would accept. And the U.S. is now sending more troops to the Middle East, including more than 2,000 Marines. We have team coverage tonight, and Marcus Moore leads us off from Doha, Qatar.
Tonight, the U.S. escalating its offensive. Iran defiant, repeating the warning that any strike on its energy infrastructure would be met with attacks on American-linked energy interests. Overnight, the U.S. striking Iran's Kerik Island, the country's main hub for oil production. President Trump posting video of projectiles hitting the airport and other sites. CENTCOM saying the U.S. struck 90 Iranian military targets on the island. Hours later, in an apparent act of retaliation, drones striking the UAE's main oil hub of Fujairah, the emirate forced to suspend some of its oil operations. And tonight, with the war now entering its 3rd week, President Trump saying Iran is totally defeated and wants a deal, but a deal that he would not accept. 5,000 U.S. military personnel, including 2,200 Marines, are headed to the region, joining the more than 50,000 American troops already there. This as the U.S. embassy in Baghdad came under attack yet again, smoke seen billowing from the compound early Saturday. Here in Doha, there is growing unease about the near-constant Iranian attacks that have shaken residents and disrupted livelihoods. Iran's retaliation crippling the region's airspace and effectively closing the Strait of Hormuz, through which 20% of the world's oil flows. The closure taking its toll on the Gulf states and the rest of the world. Now France and Italy reportedly in talks with Iran to reopen the strait. Earlier this week, CENTCOM announced that they had destroyed more than a dozen Iranian ships that could be used to lay mines, but the threat still remains. And back in the U.S., these 4 decommissioned minesweepers are awaiting dismantling in Philadelphia. They were moved from their base in Bahrain, where they had been stationed in the event of a disruption in the Strait of Hormuz.
It's quite possible that Iran will continue mining the Straits of Hormuz, and they can do so within a matter of hours. They have hundreds of thousands of small boats that all have the capability to do that.
And Iran's foreign minister says that the Strait of Hormuz is open to all vessels except those with links to the U.S. and its allies. And in a post today online, President Trump called on China, France, the U.K. and other countries to send ships to the region to help keep the strait open.
All right, Marcus, more for us tonight. And Israel is now reportedly planning to expand its ground operation in Lebanon as it targets Iran's proxy Hezbollah. This amid an escalating air campaign that has already displaced nearly 1 million people and killed more than 800 people, including at least 106 children. That's according to the Lebanese Health Ministry. ABC's Soufi-Burridge is in Tel Aviv tonight.
Tonight, Israel intensifying its air campaign in Lebanon against Iran's proxy, Hezbollah. The IDF say it struck Hezbollah command centres and has taken out 150 of them in the past 2 weeks. Today, the death toll in Lebanon rising again. The Lebanese government saying more than 800 people killed, including more than 100 children, since the US and Israel launched the war in Iran. The Israeli military issuing warnings to evacuate because of the fighting. Samir Bawab, an American citizen living in Beirut who we've been following, decided to flee.
Jets and different drones launched a few missiles, about 4 or 5 missiles at this building. It's just way too dangerous.
Aid agencies say nearly 1 million people, roughly a fifth of Lebanon's population, now displaced because of the fighting. In southern Lebanon, an Israeli airstrike Friday killing 12 health workers at a medical centre, according to Lebanese officials. And today, an Israeli strike in the city of Sidon. In the aftermath, smoke seen billowing out of a residential building. 4 members of one family killed in the attack, according to Lebanese officials. So far, the IDF not commenting on either of those strikes. Overnight, Iran retaliating. Israel's air defences over Tel Aviv seen intercepting missiles.
So I can hear interceptions overhead. Clearly something is coming into Tel Aviv. I was just out on a run and had to take cover.
Every few hours here, sirens and then booms overhead. Hezbollah rockets also causing damage in the north of Israel. And the chief of the Israeli Defense Forces saying another division, which is made up of between 10 and 20,000 troops, will be deployed up to Israel's northern border. Israel considering a ground incursion against Hezbollah in Lebanon.
Soufi-Burridge, we appreciate it. And the war is now threatening the global economy, upending energy markets, supply chains, and now fears of a possible food crisis. President Trump is asking other countries to send warships to help reopen the Strait of Hormuz. Here's ABC's senior White House correspondent, Selina Wang.
Tonight, President Trump scrambling to ease oil prices as Americans feel the pain at the pump. The national average for gas now $3.67, up 73 cents since the war began. Diesel nearing $5 a gallon, driving up transportation costs, with UPS and FedEx announcing new shipping surcharges. At the center of the crisis, the Strait of Hormuz, where roughly 1/5 of the world's oil flows, now at a virtual standstill from Iran's attacks on ships. Trump now calling on other countries to send warships to help reopen the strait, posting that many countries will do so, and hopefully China, France, Japan, South Korea, the UK, and others that are affected by this artificial constraint will send ships to the area. The impact already rippling through the economy.
We're seeing everything from freight, shipping costs, to transportation costs, prices at the gas pumps, to what you will see at the grocery store. Everything that gets moved is going to be affected by these price hikes.
Food prices now under pressure, too, from those higher transportation costs, and because 1/3 of the world's fertilizer ingredients moves through the Strait of Hormuz. The administration saying they're ready to help farmers.
The president is very aware of these challenges and these issues. We are very close to having an announcement on some solutions.
The Trump administration claims they expected Iran would target the strait, raising questions from experts about why they weren't more prepared. This week, the administration acknowledging the U.S. Navy is not yet ready to escort oil tankers through the strait. Driving the volatility, Trump's conflicting messages on how long this war will last for. And with tonight, new controversy over President Trump's political action committee using the war in Iran to raise money. A new fundraising email uses an image from the dignified transfer of the first 6 U.S. service members killed in this war and offers donors access to private national security briefings. Whit.
Okay, Selina Wang, thank you. And tune into This Week tomorrow morning. Martha Raddatz speaks with Energy Secretary Chris Wright about rising gas prices at home as the Iran war escalates. Now to an intensifying storm bringing snow across the upper Midwest, followed by severe weather for much of the eastern half of the country. Many areas expecting strong winds, already creating scenes like this on Lake Michigan shore. More than 1,300 flights have been canceled this weekend due to the weather. Let's get right to meteorologist Danny Beckstrom from our New York station WABC. So, Danny, time this all out for us.
With tonight, 100 million under wind alerts. We have about 15 million more under snow alerts. And where those two areas meet, the blizzard concerns. That blizzard warning's actually been extended east now into the UP of Michigan. And this storm system intensifies as it does track toward the Great Lakes, which means we start measuring snow in feet rather than inches east of the Twin Cities. That intensification is also what ramps up the severe weather threat. A strong line of storms developing from Chicago down through Louisiana, moving into Sunday night, then the Mid-Atlantic on Monday. Destructive wind, tornadoes, hail, heavy rain possible for so much of the eastern half of the country, especially the area shaded in orange. And also, it's also worth mentioning the heat in the West. Whit, many major cities could see all-time March records as we move past Oscar Sunday. Whit?
Well, brace for all of it. Danny Beckstrom, thank you. We have new details tonight about the attack on a synagogue in Michigan. Temple Israel held Shabbat service on Friday evening, one day after the truck ramming attack. The synagogue taking steps for a possible threat, training staff and increasing security. Here's ABC's Olivia Rubin.
Tonight, the nation's largest Reform synagogue says security training helped stop a man carrying out a violent truck ramming attack.
This was something we were prepared for, and unfortunately is a reality. I think if it weren't for the training, I wouldn't necessarily know what to do.
Temple Israel Synagogue outside Detroit holding regular active shooter trainings amid heightened threats, one just 6 weeks earlier. Officials now urgently investigating this man, seen here 2 days before the attack, buying thousands of dollars of fireworks. Investigators say the suspect, Ayman Mohammed Ghazali, waited in the parking lot for 2 hours, then plowed his truck through the synagogue's doors and down the hall, hitting a security guard. His car then getting stuck in the hallway. The suspect killed by a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Investigators still searching for a motive, but officials say 4 of the suspect's family members were killed in an Israeli airstrike in Lebanon last week. The suspect, a U.S. citizen since 2016. He entered the U.S. in 2011 on an immigrant visa as the spouse of a citizen.
We must lower the rhetoric in this state and in this country, especially at this moment where we have seen such a rise in anti-Semitism and more attacks on the Jewish community.
And even before this attack, some law enforcement officials around the country ramping up security, specifically at sensitive locations, citing the heightened threat environment because of the ongoing war in the Middle East. Whit.
Olivia Rubin, thank you for that. Overseas now to an explosion damaging a Jewish school in Amsterdam. The city's mayor calling it, quote, a deliberate attack against the Jewish community. It's the second anti-Semitic attack in 2 days. No one was hurt in the explosion at the school or from an earlier attack on a synagogue in Rotterdam. Meantime, back here in the U.S., heightened security at the Oscars, even tighter than previous shows. Security teams and law enforcement on high alert around the city. This is the first high-profile large event since the war began with Iran. Here's ABC's Alex Stone.
Tonight, amid the fighting in Iran and police departments nationwide increasing their presence around high-profile events, security ahead of tomorrow's Academy Awards is tighter than at any previous Oscars show.
Every year we monitor what's going on in the world. We have the support of the FBI and the LAPD, and it's a close collaboration.
The LAPD is set to have teams seen and unseen all around the area. Police are running this operation out of a high-tech command center. We're told they have dogs, SWAT team members, anti-drone technology, and even sharpshooters, as they do every year. While there are no known credible threats against the ceremony, LAPD sources telling ABC News police and private security are working together at an unprecedented level. In a statement, the LAPD saying attendees are being told to remain aware of their surroundings. And with tonight, barricades and fencing are up. Here along Hollywood Boulevard, they put up this fencing to stop traffic and people from going in. The LAPD is telling us tonight that there is no intelligence that the Oscars are a target. Whit?
Everyone hoping for a safe weekend there. Alex Stone, our thanks to you. When we come back, new changes for Southwest Airlines. The airline set to end flights to and from two major airports. And a close call for two workers repairing a mountain road racing to escape a landslide. Next tonight, Southwest Airlines announcing it will end service out of Chicago's O'Hare and Washington's Dulles airports effective June 4th. The airline saying it's part of an effort to refine its network, but Southwest will continue to serve both cities with flights out of Chicago's Midway Airport and D.C.'s Reagan Airport. When we come back, Dolly Parton's surprise appearance, sharing an update about her health, why she hasn't been seen in public for months, and what she's been working on. To the index now, a close call for two workers repairing a mountain road. Video from northern Peru shows a landslide sweeping over their excavator. You can see it right here. The two of them climbing out, scrambling to safety before the hillside gives way again. The excavator tumbling down the hill. Local media reporting heavy rains were responsible. Dolly Parton making a surprise appearance, her first in 6 months at her namesake theme park, Dollywood, sharing an update on her health, saying that she's been battling a kidney stone-related infection while also grieving her husband, who died last March. The 80-year-old legend took part in Dollywood's opening day parade and says that she's been working on a Broadway musical expected to open later this year. Next year, a nail-biting finish at the Big 12 tournament semifinal between number 2 Arizona and number 7 Iowa State. The game heading into overtime. Then Arizona's Jaden Bradley hitting that buzzer beater right there, giving the Wildcats an 82-80 victory over the Cyclones. Arizona now going to the Big 12 final. Still ahead, behind the scenes with the choreographer and music director making the magic for the Oscars. Finally tonight, behind the scenes at the Oscars.
Tonight, just 1 day away from Hollywood's biggest night, workers putting the finishing touches on the Dolby Theater and that iconic red carpet, measuring 900 feet long, 33 feet wide, rolled out and ready for the Parade of Stars. The 98th Academy Awards is expected to be one of the most competitive in recent history, featuring 24 categories, including a new award for achievement in casting. The Oscars' live music performances create unforgettable experiences for viewers. This year, two highly respected veterans are back to work their magic. For the second year in a row, Michael Bearden is serving as music director for the ceremony, working with a hand-picked orchestra.
It feels amazing to be back. I love the Oscars.
The Chicago native is also adding his personal touch to two songs that define their films and will be performed live on stage. The chart-topping Golden from K-pop Demon Hunters. Somebody take me. And the soulfully rich I Lied to You from Sinners.
The Oscars is a unique show, and so they don't want to perform their nominated songs the way they've performed them before. So that's all I'll say. You'll just have to tune in to see how we do it.
1, 2, 3, 4.
The visionary who will help bring these musical numbers to life is choreographer Mandy Moore, returning for her 6th Academy Awards show.
It's always super honored to be here, and I love the songs this year.
We dropped in during rehearsals, the dancers preparing for their golden rendition, waving large flags. More promising to take viewers along for a ride.
And you can watch the Oscars right here on ABC. Have a great night.